We are back with another Project Pan update. It has been 6 months since I started Project Pan earlier this year to try to use up what I already own. I've been doing these updates every 2 months, and today I have some empties, declutters, and additions to share with you guys. I also thought we could do some makeup surgery today and take the stopper out of a lip balm that I've made really good progress on. We'll also be checking progress on all my other products, and I'll share my goals for Project Pan going into fall. So let's jump right into it. All right, first up are empties that were not a part of my Project Pan, and I have 12 of these total. I'll just go through these super quick and give really quick reviews. So starting with this body wash, I finished this Dove Deep Moisture body wash, and I did really like this. I did think that it added moisture and didn't dry out my skin. I don't love supporting Dove and Unilever as a company, so I will be looking for a replacement for this one in the future. But for now, I did end up replacing it with the same thing because it was on sale and I didn't feel like looking for another alternative. I started doing research trying to look for a bar soap that I thought I would like, but I just didn't have the time to commit to it and I needed a new body wash right away. So I got this one. It was cheap. I know I like it, but next time I do want to try to find another alternative. I want something that's really affordable that doesn't feel waxy on my skin. So yeah, let me know if you have any recommendations. And then I finished this CeraVe facial cleanser. I really enjoyed this one, so I ended up purchasing the same thing again. And I found out after I purchased this replacement that they actually do refills that use less plastic. So next time I will definitely be purchasing the refill for this because I don't like wasting all this plastic, but I do really like this cleanser. And then I finished this hair tonic from Colton Keen. So this is a refill, and I've already gone through at least 2 to 3 of these refills, and I really love this product. So I buy this from my hairstylist, but I know that you can also buy it online. And this is a spray that you put on your scalp. So they actually sell it in a reusable container. And you can spray this onto your scalp either after you wash your hair or anytime during the week. And it makes my scalp feel really calm and fresh, and it helps with dandruff and an itchy scalp. I've found a huge difference from when I'm using this versus when I'm not. And my hair and scalp is a lot happier when I'm using this. It's a little pricey and I would like to find a more affordable alternative, but there was a while where I was trying to live without this and I decided that I couldn't live without this in my life or have something similar to this in my routine because it really does make a huge difference with my scalp health. So I still have some left in the bottle here, but I used up this refill. And after I finish what's left, I have this little sample that I got from Sephora with my Sephora points. And this is the Mizani Wonder Crown. And I have yet to try this out, but it is a scalp foaming pre-cleanse. And it also has tea tree oil and menthol. So I think a lot of similar ingredients to this one here. So I'm hoping that it'll function in the same way. So I will definitely try this one out after. But let me know if you have any recommendations for a product like this. I think it has salicylic acid, and that's one of the main ingredients in here that I think helps with my scalp. So yeah, let me know if you have any recommendations. And then I finished another one of these rose water and glycerins from the Heritage store. I really like this facial mist, and I've gone through so many of these bottles. It lasts me a while because it's a larger size, and it's really simple. It's literally just rose water and glycerin, but I like to use this right after I wash my face, and it helps prevent my skin from drying out. And I just like to use it throughout the day if I feel like I need a little bit of moisture. It's really refreshing, and it's a part of my routine that I really enjoy. So I did replace this with the same one. And then I finished this Tower 28 SOS spray. This was my first hypochlorous acid product that I've ever tried, and I did enjoy it. I talked about it, I think, in my last Project Pan update, so I won't go into too many details here, but pretty much I think that this product is way overpriced for what it is. I don't think that it's a miracle worker, but I do like to use it on occasion. And I went through this bottle so fast, so that's partially why I don't think it's worth the price. So instead, I purchased this one here as a replacement. So this is the Briotech Renew Toner. and it's the same exact thing, it's just hypochlorous acid. And I really don't notice much of a difference between these. This one does have a bit of a chlorine scent to it, which I've read about in reviews, and it honestly doesn't bother me. It's not that strong of a scent, and it weirdly makes me feel a little nostalgic, the smell of chlorine. It reminds me of the summers in my childhood and swimming a bunch, but I think that's just the natural scent of the hypochlorous acid. And again, it doesn't bother me. I really don't notice much of a difference between these two, but I think this one is at least half the price. And somebody in my comments said that Briotech sells a really large refill version of this, so I can just refill this spray bottle. So thank you for that recommendation, and that's probably what I will do after I finish this one here. And then I finished this First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Cream. I liked this, but I didn't love it. It has eucalyptus oil in it, which I found made my skin feel a little tingly. And I feel like for something that's supposed to be really good for sensitive skin, I don't see how eucalyptus oil makes it good for sensitive skin. Whenever my skin barrier was feeling a little bit compromised, this didn't feel like the most soothing product that I could put on my face. I wouldn't say it necessarily burned, but there was a very subtle burning sensation. Plus, it's really expensive, so I've since replaced this one here with the Vanny Cream Daily Facial Moisturizer. This one has hyaluronic acid and ceramides, and it is also free of dyes, fragrance, and all of the things listed here. So it's also very good for sensitive skin, and it is way more affordable than the First Aid Beauty Moisturizer. It has a lighter texture to it, almost like a hybrid between a gel and a cream. And I really enjoy the texture of this. It seems to be really effective at moisturizing and providing deep moisture without feeling heavy. So just really pleasant to use, and I imagine this would be good to use both in the evenings and the mornings, even though I only use it in the evening, but it has been working really well for me. And then I finished this Cocokind cleanser. This is their AHA Jelly Cleanser. I have repurchased this one at least a couple of times. I did enjoy this cleanser, and I thought it worked well without being too harsh on my skin. I'm not sure if I'll repurchase it again in the future, at least for now, because I'm not really looking to have an exfoliating cleanser in my routine at the moment, but I did enjoy this one and thought it was a good one. And then I finished 3 different sunscreens. So I finished 2 of the Beauty of Joseon Relief Sun Aqua Fresh, and then 1 of the Har Har Wonder Mineral Sunscreen. My partner and I share sunscreens, so that's why we went through so many, and this one here was almost done. And then these 2 here don't last very long. I seem to go through them really quickly, but go check out my Korean SPF video if you're interested in hearing more of my thoughts on these. But for now, I've replaced it with this Har Har Wonder Black Rice Sunscreen. So this is the non-mineral version, and I really like this. Again, I've talked about it before, but this is the one that I'm currently using. I also finished a sunscreen for my hands. So this is the Supergoop hand screen. This is the second one that I've purchased of this, and I really like this product. It is perfect for leaving in my purse and using on the go. And I originally purchased this because I was commuting at the time an hour each way to work, and I was getting freckles and sun damage on my left arm from being in the car for a long time. And I was trying to put on sunscreen in the car, but it was making my hands so slippery that it was actually a safety hazard for driving. So I was looking for a hand sunscreen to use in the car that wouldn't make my hands slippery. And this one definitely worked for that. And again, I really enjoy this. I'm not commuting anymore, but this one worked really well for me, and I continued to keep it in my purse. I think they raised the price on this. It seems really expensive now last time I checked. So I've since replaced this with these 2 here. So I purchased the mini version of that same Beauty of Joseon Relief Sun Aqua Fresh SPF because it is so lightweight and absorbs so quickly that it works really well on my hands. I thought this little mini version would be bigger than it is. It is so small, so I feel like I'm going to go through this so quickly. And I feel like next time I would just buy the big version because this also would fit in my purse really easily. But I purchased this little mini version, and then I also purchased the Beauty of Joseon Matte Sun Stick. This is my first time ever trying a sun stick, and I haven't used this one too much, so I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about it, but so far so good. It doesn't feel greasy, it dries quickly. I like that I can just apply it directly onto my hands and not get the palms of my hand greasy. So again, perfect for using in the car and on the go. So those are my two replacements for this one here. And then finally here, I finished another one of these Hero Cosmetics pimple patches. And these are the micro dart ones. So they really get into the skin and help with those deep cystic blemishes. And I continue to just repurchase the same thing. So those are all of my non-project pan empties from the past couple months. And now these were all of my empties that were a part of my project pan. And I have 10 of these in total. I mainly finished a lot of face masks, and I finished all of the face masks that were in my project pan. I added all of these sheet masks in because I had been hoarding them for a long time and not using them, mainly because I struggle to fit face masks into my normal routine. Usually after I shower, I just want to go straight to bed and I don't feel like waiting 20 to 30 minutes for a face mask. So I struggled to reach for these, but I really made an effort the past couple months because some of these were getting really old, like probably a few years old. And then this one here I received more recently as a free sample with a purchase. But I was able to get through them all, and I think it just confirmed that I'm not really a face mask person. I don't really like how they leave a residue on my skin that I'm supposed to leave on, because a lot of times that texture that is left on my skin is either really sticky or doesn't absorb fully. So it just doesn't feel comfortable for me to go to sleep right after I've done a face mask. And I feel like the product kind of gets all over my pillow. And I'm so picky about how textures feel on my skin. If it is not absorbing almost completely, and if it doesn't feel totally lightweight and non-sticky, then it really causes issues for me when I try to fall asleep. They will keep me up at night. So I don't really like face masks, and I won't be purchasing any in the future. I actually didn't purchase any of these. They were all gifts in some way or another. But I got through them. I thought they were fine. This one here, I feel like I've heard a lot about. This is the Riedel Shot face mask, and it is a two-step mask. So you put on the serum and then the mask. And I was honestly scared to use this one. I don't know why, but every time I read this name, I read it as needle shot instead of Riedel Shot. So I think because of that, and because of some reviews that I saw online, I thought that this one was going to burn my skin off and feel like little needles all over my skin. So I was kind of scared to try this one out, but honestly it was fine. It didn't burn at all, and it did leave my skin looking really nice and smooth in the morning. But yeah, I won't be purchasing any sheet masks in the future. And then I finished this Innate Life leave-in conditioner. This one was just okay. I didn't really love it, but I also didn't hate it. I was only able to use it on wet hair because if I used it on dry hair, then it left a really kind of heavy, greasy texture. But when I used it in wet hair, it felt really lightweight and left my hair feeling really soft and silky. But I didn't really love the texture of this. It was very runny and just not my favorite to use. So I wouldn't repurchase this one in the future. And next I'm going to be focusing on a leave-in conditioner that is also part of my project pan. It takes me so long to finish up hair products, so I'm glad that this one is done. And then I finished my last Lume deodorant. I really did not like this deodorant. I've talked about this in other videos, so again, I won't go into too many details, but I didn't like it and I'm glad that it is done. I've since replaced this one with this Salt & Stone deodorant. I got this one because I've heard so many things about it and I got it on sale, so I figured I would try it. And I would also say that it is just okay. I definitely like it better than the Lume one, but it also isn't the greatest. I like the scent of it. It's the bergamot and hinoki, but I think generally I just don't like to smell myself, even if it's a good scent. I sometimes just feel like I don't want to be smelling myself all day. And the thing about this deodorant is it doesn't work all that well. So I have to reapply it in the afternoon. I would say that it only lasts about 6 hours before I start smelling myself. And because it has a scent to it, I start to just associate this really nice scent with the scent of BO. And it's hard to tell whether this one is actually working or if the scent is just covering up any smells. So I feel like I'm starting to have a negative association with this scent, and I just prefer to have unscented deodorants, which are so hard to find. I also don't love how this one gets a little messy. You can see in the cap here, it's kind of getting everywhere. And I've only used this one for less than 2 months, and it looks like I'm already getting to the bottom. And I feel like that's mainly because I have to apply so much of this and reapply it. So I'm going through it a lot quicker, and if this weren't on sale, then I definitely do not think that it is worth the price. And then finally, I finished these sunscreens. So I depotted my other sunscreens into this container here. And then I also recently found this little mini version at the bottom of a drawer. So I decided to just finish this one up as well. But this is the same kind that I had depotted into this container. So I finished both of them, and they are finally out of my project pan. I used this sunscreen on my body for years, and actually it was the Clear Skin one, which is very similar to this Dry Touch. For both of them, you can't really feel them on your skin. They do dry down fully and don't feel greasy at all, which is why I really like to use them on my body. But they don't make them anymore, so I have since replaced this one with this Kula one right here. This is the Kula Hydrating Sunscreen Lotion, and it is fragrance-free. I've been really enjoying this one. This is what I use before I go on walks. And it definitely is non-greasy, though it does have a slightly lotiony feel once it's on the skin. But it feels like just a really lightweight lotion, and it doesn't bother me at all. I don't feel greasy, and that is the main thing that I look for in a sunscreen. And I also appreciate that it is fragrance-free. A little bit pricier, but I feel like this one is definitely worth it because I am so picky about my sunscreens. And if I do not like the texture or the scent, then I am never going to use it. And sunscreen is so important, so I am happy with this one so far. It's also water resistant up to 80 minutes and SPF 50. So this one is perfect for summer and doing any water activities or going to the beach. So definitely a good one here. So that's it for all of my empties from the past couple months. And next, I have a few items that were in my project pan that I decided to declutter. And there are 5 items total that I am decluttering today. I did a full makeup declutter video not too long ago, so go check that one out if you're interested, and I go into a lot more of the details there. So I'll just talk about these really briefly right now since they were part of my project pan, and I'm curious to check if there's any progress. So I decided to declutter these 4 Merit Solo shadows and this one Laura Mercier caviar stick. Pretty much my reasoning for all of these is that they are expired and I didn't feel comfortable using them around my eyes anymore. I decided that it was not worth causing any eye issues and that it was time to say goodbye. I did get a couple more uses out of all of these before I decided to declutter them. So let's check the progress right now because I'm really curious whether I made any more of a dent in these, even though I'm not really expecting much progress. But let's do one final check before I officially declutter these. So let's start with this Laura Mercier caviar stick and the color Strapless. When I added this into my project pan back in March, it was at 7 grams, and now it is at 7 grams. So yeah, no change there, no surprise. I only used this one a few times, and there was so little left in this that I doubted there would be much of a weight difference, especially since my scale does not go into decimal points. So it's not super accurate, but let's measure it to see if there has been any difference. And just for the record, I did cut off the tip of this because I was afraid that there's bacteria on it from when I had an eye infection. So it will be a little shorter because of that, but I barely cut any off. And let's see. All right, so there has been a little bit of progress. You can see here the progress throughout Project Pan. I definitely was able to use it enough to get a better idea of how I feel about this product. And while I did end up enjoying it more than I initially thought I would, it's not something that I would repurchase anytime soon. And this actually was just a free gift that I got from Sephora, so it's not like I wasted my money on this, but this one is now officially decluttered from my Project Pan. And now let's go through some of these solo shadows from Merit. So again, these were just very expired and it was time to say goodbye. So this is what this one is looking like today, and this one is Glacé. So this is the free one that came in their holiday set from a couple years ago. And this is the one that I probably got the most use out of because it was really easy to wear on a day-to-day basis, and I liked using it as a topper. And you can see that there is a decent dent in there, but I never hit pan, which was my goal when I added it in during my last update. But that's fine, I don't want to risk any eye infections, so it's time to declutter it. But I think this one, along with all my other Merit Solo shadows, I'm actually going to hold on to just to compare to other colors in the future, even though they are officially decluttered from my collection. So that's probably what I'll do with all of these here. So this one, when I added it into my Project Pan a couple months ago, was at 28 grams. And today, it's still at 28 grams. Again, I don't expect there really to be any difference in these because I only used them a couple more times before I decided to declutter them. But I feel like maybe that dent is ever so slightly bigger. At least I would like to think so. But who knows? Maybe there's actually no difference in this, but it is now decluttered. So next is Social. This one is kind of that purpley mauve color. And this one, when I added it into Project Pan, was at 29 grams. And today it is at 29 grams. So yeah, no difference again. And then Studio was also at 29 grams. Still at 29. But that's what it's looking like today. And then finally, Nelson was also at 29 grams. And this one I used for my eyeliner. And today it's at 29 grams. So no progress on any of those today. But that's what that one is looking like now. I made a dent in all of them, but I didn't hit pan. And they are still creamy, even though I've had them all for a couple years now. So they didn't dry out, which I know other people have had issues with. But usually I'm very careful about keeping the lids fully closed. So I feel like that helped, but I don't feel comfortable using them on my eyes anymore. So I feel okay about decluttering them today. I really enjoyed them, so it's a little sad, and I probably won't repurchase any of these in the future just because they are cream products and it's a clean beauty brand. So I feel like they expire a lot quicker and I don't feel comfortable using them around my eyes. So no really visible progress on any of these declutters today, but I feel okay getting rid of them. It's their time to go. I enjoyed using them while I had them, and I'm ready to focus on other items in my collection. And now for additions that I'm adding into my Project Pan. So I'm adding 2 more items, and I'm going to be adding this Merit highlighter stick in the color Kava and this Glossier Skywash eyeshadow in the color Pool. I really like both of these products, but they also are very expired. And because this one goes around my eyes, I want to make sure that I use it as soon as possible before it causes any issues. I think this one is about a year old now, and it has a 6-month shelf life. So I definitely probably shouldn't be using it, but it's not a clean beauty brand, so I feel a little better about using it. And I'm so close to being done with it, and it's not causing any issues. So that's why I decided to add it into my Project Pan, because I definitely need to finish it by the end of the year. Otherwise, it needs to be decluttered. This is a really pretty powder blue color. and like I said, it is already almost done. I am barely getting any product out of this every time I use it, but I can't get myself to get rid of it because I really love this and it is really unique in my collection. I don't have anything else like it. Even though it's not really a fall color, I feel like it'll be really fun to use with my burgundy blush and lip products, and I feel like that'll help make it transition between summer and fall. So I'm looking forward to using this one up, and hopefully it'll be done by my next update in a couple months. And then same goes for this Merit highlighter stick. So I really like this product, but I've had this for I don't even know how long. I've had it for a while and it has a 12-month shelf life. And some of you guys were saying in the comments how this highlighter stick went bad really quickly for you. And that started to make me really nervous because this one doesn't necessarily smell great, but it never smelled great. It always kind of had this crayon scent, and that's how it's been since I purchased it. So I can't really tell if it's actually gone bad. But I feel like because it's just a cheek product and it doesn't go around my eyes, I don't feel as bad using it up even if it's expired. And I have this much left, so I feel like I've probably used about half of this product so far. And I would guess it's probably a couple years old now at this point, so I definitely need to be finishing it or trying to get as close as possible. So that's why I'm adding it into my project pan, and I guess time will tell if it causes any skin issues because it's expired. But if it does start to cause any issues, then I will declutter it. But for now, I feel okay using it, and this one is now a part of my project pan. So those are my two additions to project pan. Next, I thought that we could do a little bit of makeup surgery. So I have this Rare Beauty Glossy Balm that I have been making a lot of progress in the past couple months. This has been the main lip product that I have been focusing on since my last update. So I've been using it almost every single day, and a lot of times I use it at least a couple times a day. I'll usually apply it in the morning, and then I'll apply it once again in the afternoon. It lasts all day, and really the only time that I need to reapply it is after I eat, and only if I have completely wiped my lips with a napkin. Otherwise, I'll still feel the remnants of this balmy texture on my lips by the end of the day. And it's really comfortable to use. I really enjoy it. This color has been perfect for summer, so it's been really easy for me to reach for. But I've gotten to the point where I can't really get too much product out of this anymore, and I feel like it's time to take the stopper out. And then I'll be able to reach the very last drop. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take the stopper out, and I'm going to use my little beauty spatula to scrape whatever is at the bottom and bring that to the top. And I really didn't expect to make this much progress on this product. My goal was to really just make a dent in it, but I've gotten so far that I think I will try to finish it before my next update. I think it'll only take maybe a couple weeks, even though I know based off me finishing my last glossy balm from Rare Beauty that after I took the stopper out, it took me 4 more weeks of daily use to finish. But there doesn't seem to be that much left in here, so I'm hoping that I can get through it a little bit quicker so that I can start to focus on some of my other lip products that I'm really excited to use for fall, because this is such a summery color, but it is so expired at this point. And I figure that if I don't finish it now, then by the time spring or summer comes back around, I think that this will be way too expired to use anymore, and I'll end up just decluttering it. So I don't want that to happen, and that's why I think I'll just continue to focus on this one going into the next month, and hopefully I'll finish it, but then I'll have another empty out of my collection. So first, I'm going to weigh it before I take the stopper out, just to see how much progress I have made. So I've barely used this one up until the past couple months, and it has been at 35 grams since the start of my project pan. And today it is at 33, so it went down 2 grams. It was pretty much full before I added it into my project pan, and I only used it a handful of times. The color is pretty, but it's maybe not my favorite, and it's really only appropriate for me during spring and summer. So even though I've been enjoying this one, I'll be happy to have it out of my collection. So let's do a little bit of makeup surgery. All right, so I have my needle nose pliers and I have my little beauty spatula. So let's take the stopper out. And now I'm just going to scrape everything that's at the bottom and bring it to the top. All right, there we go. There's still a decent amount left in here. If I weren't doing Project Pan, then I would probably already call this one done and I would not bother taking the stopper out. But like I said, I probably have upwards of 4 more weeks of product left in here. Hopefully it'll only be 2, but we'll see how that works out. But I plan on scraping this one completely clean, just like I did with my last Rare Beauty Glossy Balm. Next, I want to check the progress on all of my Project Pan items, starting with my makeup. So besides the Glossy Balm that we just did the surgery on and the 2 new additions that I'm adding into Project Pan, this is all that's left as far as makeup goes that is in my Project Pan. So today I'm just going to check the progress on the items that I've been using in the past couple months. Okay, let's start with my Merit Flush Balms because I'm probably most excited to check the progress on these. I've been focusing on these 2 colors for the past couple months, so I have Rouge and Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills already had a lot of progress on it and is very flat now, whereas Rouge I barely reached for before adding it into my Project Pan. I've been using both of these simultaneously, so I like to add a little bit of the Rouge and then Beverly Hills on top. Rouge is maybe a little bit too vivid of a color for me personally. It is really pretty, but a little bit goes a long way. So it has been taking a lot of time to even make a dent in this Flush Balm. Whereas Beverly Hills, I can really layer on and it still is pretty natural and sheer looking on me. So that's why these 2 work well together, because Beverly Hills just kind of helps mute down Rouge and helps it blend into my skin tone a little better. But I've been using both of these almost every single day for the past 2 months. There were a few days here and there where I didn't use them, but I would say I probably got at least 45 uses out of each of these. And these colors have worked really well for me for summer. So let's start with Beverly Hills. At the start of my Project Pan, Beverly Hills was at 23 grams. And then at my last update, it was down to 22. And today, it's still at 22. Again, there is not a lot of weight difference going on in my makeup. But let's see if there is a difference when we measure it here. All right, so it has gone down a little bit since my last update. You can see right there, the bottom line is today, and it has gone down pretty steadily since the beginning of my Project Pan. It is definitely looking very flat now, and this is one that I said I'm going to try to pan completely. I feel like it's going to take so long. I don't even know if by the next update I will be to the same level as this plastic right here. I might be, given how much progress I'm making each time. Possibly. But I've seen other people pan this item and it goes beyond this plastic. It kind of digs underneath. So if I'm actually to dig all of this product out, I think it's going to take me forever to finish. But like I said, I can go through quite a bit of this each time I use it. So I'm hoping that that is something that I can actually do before it truly expires and starts causing issues to my skin. Because it is at least a couple years old. But we will keep going with this one, and that is pretty good progress for today. So now for Rouge, this one has been at 24 grams since the start of my Project Pan. And today, it's still at 24. This one is going to take me so long to use up. I do think it is looking ever so slightly flatter though. It's definitely not flat, it still is fully domed, but I think I've taken just an edge off of it. So let's measure it on the paper. Okay, I actually made really good progress on rouge. You can see it definitely has gone down since my last update. I didn't expect for it to have gone down that much. I knew it was looking a little bit flatter, but that is more progress than what I expected. But I think if we were to compare it to this one that I have in the color Mood, which I have also barely touched, I think there might be the tiniest bit of difference. Yeah, you can definitely see rouge has flattened out the tiniest little bit. I'm glad that I made some progress on this one though, because it was a really good summer color, and I am going to be focusing on some of my other colors going into fall. Okay, next is my Merit concealer stick, and this is in the color Bone. And I've talked about how this one is also very expired, so I'm trying to use it up or get as much use out of it as possible before I declutter it by the end of the year. This is a color that only works well on me in the summer, so I've been trying to get a lot of use out of it in the past couple months, and I feel like the color will still work for me probably for the rest of September. But once the weather really starts to change and it starts to get cloudy, I doubt that this one will work for me anymore, and that's when I will declutter it. I don't do a full face of makeup all that often, so I've probably only used this one maybe 5 to 6 times since my last update. This one has been stuck at 38 grams since the start of my project pan, and today it is at 37 grams. So it finally has gone down 1 gram. Okay, let's measure it now. I tend to use quite a bit of this each time I use it because I use it all over my face, sort of as a foundation. There's still that much left. So there's still quite a bit of this left, but let's see. So that's what that's looking like today. And it has been going down pretty steadily ever since the start of my project pan. I can really see the progress when I twist this all the way down. So I think when I first purchased this product, it had a dome kind of coming up that maybe went to about this point. And today it is all the way down there. So like I said, I think I've probably gone through about half of this concealer stick since I purchased it. That's honestly not too bad for a color that doesn't really work for me. And for a product that I don't necessarily love. I'm not sure if I'll be able to fully finish it before the season changes, but I will try to get as far as possible, and I will let you guys know the progress and the final update in my next video. Next, I'll do this Merit lip oil in the color Jete. So this one also has been stuck at 26 grams since the start of my project pan. And I've probably only used this one a handful of times since my last update because I have been focusing on the Rare Beauty one. But let's see if there's any progress. Hey, it's gone down 1 gram since my last update. I honestly did not expect that. And it looks like today, when I have it standing up for a while, it is right at the bottom of the R. And when I started Project Pan, it was closer to the top of the R, so it has definitely gone down a tiny bit. This is one that I do need to focus on more very soon because it is one of the oldest lip products that I have in my collection. And again, it's a clean beauty brand, so I don't really expect this one to last much longer before it really starts going bad. But we'll get more into some of my fall goals in just a minute. And then finally, I have the Kulfi Brow Gel. So this one I've only used a handful of times, and I added this one into my project pan because it's not my favorite product. It's not bad, but I don't love it necessarily. But since I added it in, I have decided that I'm not trying to finish it as fast as possible because it works fine and I'm trying to save some money. But I will continue checking the progress, even though I doubt there will be much. But this one has been stuck at 19 grams since the start of my project pan. And today it is at 18 grams. So it's gone down 1 gram since my last update. I'm honestly really surprised about that because I use so little of this product each time I use it. And this little bottle is so lightweight that I figured the product itself doesn't actually weigh that much. But yeah, it's gone down one, oh my God. Okay, I spoke too soon. Wow, I really cannot trust this scale. It is not the most accurate scale, but let's just pretend like that went down 1 gram. Yeah, that went down 1 gram, you guys. That's that's progress. All right, whatever. I'll just keep this one in my project pan and I'll keep using it organically until I empty it. Next up is skincare, and this is all that I've left for skincare. So let's weigh some of these items. Let's start with my Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask, which I feel like will be the most satisfying progress today. So that is what is looking like today. It has definitely gone down since my last update. I haven't been focusing on that one spot where I've already hit pan. I've kind of been focusing on the outer edges, but it definitely has gone down around the edges in the past 2 months. So this lip mask has gone down 1 gram every update. So at the start of my project pan, it was 52 grams. Then my first update, it was 51. And my second update was 50. And then today it is at 49. So it really is very exact and precise with how much it goes down every couple months. That's good. I'm glad that I'm making steady progress on this, and it makes sense because I use this every single night before I go to bed. I still don't know whether I'll be able to finish this one by the end of the year, but I think I will be able to get pretty close, but we will see. And then after I finish the Laneige lip mask, I will focus on this CosRX one. So I haven't used this one at all since my last update, so I will not be checking progress on this one today. And then next I have these 2 Banish products. So I have the Vitamin C Banish Serum and their Ceramide and Retinol Serum. I've been using the Vitamin C Serum every single night almost for the past couple months. And my skin has been really happy with this. It looks really plump, and I do think that it has helped in evening out my skin texture and the appearance of dark spots. So I've been really enjoying using this one, and let's see how much progress I've made. So when I added it in last time, it was at 53 grams. And today it is at 42. It has gone down 11 grams since my last update. I only use a couple drops of this each time I use it, so it is slow going, but like I said, I've been using it almost every single night. But we will see how much longer it takes to finish this, but I do really need to finish it this year because it again is very expired, but I've been keeping it in my fridge, so hopefully that's been helping. And then this retinol, I have only used maybe 5 times since I added it into my project pan last update. I wanted to see how my skin reacted to this serum first before I added in the retinol, and I've been using up all of those face masks, so I didn't want to be adding in too many new products into my routine at a time. So I only started to use this one last week, and I've only used it a few times since then, but let's see. It was at 81 grams at the start, and today it's at 79. So that's actually surprising because I only use a few drops of this each time I use it. And like I said, I have not used this more than 5 times. But so far I haven't had any sensitivity when using this, and I'm trying to take it slow, but I'm looking forward to seeing if this makes any difference in my skin. I've been wanting to add a retinol into my routine for a while now, and I feel like this is a really gentle one to start with. And again, I've been keeping this in my fridge, even though I've had it at least for a couple years now. But hopefully because I've been keeping it in there, it isn't going to go bad very soon. It does say to store between 72 and 74 degrees Fahrenheit, which is so specific. I don't know who can keep it between 72 and 74 at all times. Hopefully putting it in the fridge isn't causing any issues for it, but it seems to be working fine, and I haven't been having any skin irritation, so I will just keep going with this one. So that's it for my skincare. Next is all of my hair care that is left in my project pan. All of my categories are really shrinking, and it is very satisfying to see. But hair care is definitely still one of the biggest categories, and it's just because it takes me so long to use up. And again, I really like to just focus on one product at a time so that I know how my hair is reacting to it and I can form a good opinion on whether I like it or not. So it's very slow going, but this is what's left. And let's go ahead and check the progress. There's some items here that I have not been focusing on in the past couple months, so I won't bother checking the progress on these today. Okay, first let's check the progress on this shampoo, and I'm just trying to finish this one because I don't completely love it. And I know that when I don't love a product, I always risk opening a new one before I finish the old one. So that's why this is in my project pan. And this is the Pacifica Cocoa Peptide shampoo. And at the start of project pan back in March, this was at 312 grams. And then back in May, it was down to 261. In July, it was at 199. And today, it is at 121. So I've been making really good progress on this one each update, and it's because it's a product that I use pretty frequently. And if I had to guess, I would say that this one is probably right about here now. So I definitely will be able to finish this one by the end of the year and hopefully by my next update. Next, let's check this herbal hair mask from the Innate Life. So again, a product that I just don't completely love. It's not bad at all, it's fine. But these kind of hair masks that I have to use before I shower, I just struggle to incorporate into my routine. So that's why this one is a part of my project pan, so that I can really be intentional about using it and finishing it rather than just having it sit in my cabinet forever and then eventually being decluttered. But this one at the start of project pan was at 225 grams. And then it went down to 203. And then during my last update, it was at 176. And then today it is at 140. 139, 140. So it has gone down about 36 grams since my last update. And this one is probably, I would guess, about right here. So again, so close to being done. Hopefully it'll be finished by my next update or by the end of the year at the very least. Next, I have this Unite texturizing spray. This one I've only reached for maybe a couple of times since my last update. I definitely need to make more of an effort to use it and see how I feel about it. But at the start of Project Pan, this one was at 223 grams. And then during my last update, it was at 218. And then today it is at 216. So yeah, a little bit of progress. I probably used it once or twice, but not too much. This is one that I want to focus on for fall though. And now I have some Amika products. So first up I have this plus size Perfect Body Mousse. And this one at the start was at 256 grams. And then it went down to 253. And then last time it was at 249. So today it is at 242. So that's good. I've used it a few times and I have been trying to focus on it more and experiment with it in different ways because I don't really love this product, but I am still trying to figure out ways to use it that might make me like it more, but we will see. I definitely think I can finish this one eventually. I don't know if it'll happen this year. It is very slow and steady progress, but at least Project Pan is making me reach for this more often, and hopefully I will continue to see progress. And then I have this Curl Refreshing Spray. It's their Power Hour. I've barely reached for this one in the past couple months just because I've been trying out some other products, but this one was at 178 at the start. Then it went down to 177, and then last time it was at 176. So today it is at still 176. Yeah, I've barely reached for this one. I definitely need to make a conscious effort to reach for this one more in the next couple months. And then finally, the last product that we're checking progress on for today is this Amika Heat Defense Serum. This one I've been reaching for pretty consistently because I don't have any other heat protectant in my routine right now. And this one at the start of Project Pan was at 156 grams. Then it went down to 151, and then finally it was at 146. So today it is at 143. So it's gone down 3 grams since my last update. That's not too bad. Hopefully I can continue to reach for this one, but I might be focusing on some other products going into fall. We will talk about that in just a second. And that's it for all of my progress. Here's everything that I plan on focusing on going into fall. So again, this is almost everything in my project pan. There are just a few items that I've left out, but these are the ones that I really want to be intentional on using. So starting with hair care, again am going to be using the shampoo and focusing on this texturizing spray, this refreshing spray, and I'm going to try to get close to finishing this hair mask. And then for my leave-in conditioner and heat protectant, I'm going to be using this JVN Instant Recovery Serum because it works both as a leave-in conditioner and a heat protectant. So this is the one that I would like to empty next. And I feel like I should be able to get pretty far. That's how much is left in there. So about half is left. But that's what I'll be focusing on in fall. And then I also need to test out this Inner Sense styling foam and this Garnier Fructis texturizing putty. I say every single update that I need to test these out to see how I feel. Otherwise, I just need to declutter them. And I have yet to test them out. So this is the season that I'm going to test them, and I will have an update for you in the next video on whether I am going to keep them or not. And then for skincare, I will continue to use my Laneige Sleep Mask every night. And I will continue to use both of these Vanish serums on a regular basis. And then as for makeup, I am planning on finishing this Glossier Sky Wash before the next update. And this Merit Concealer Stick should be decluttered by the next update. But we will see how far I can get. I definitely want to get as far as possible. I will continue using my Kulfi Brow Gel, and I plan on finishing this Rare Beauty Glossy Balm, hopefully in the next couple weeks. I would also like to use this Merit highlighter almost on a daily basis. And then I have these two Merit blushes that I plan on focusing on. So I have Mood, which is this deep burgundy color. And this is one, like I said, that I have barely ever used, and you can't even see any progress on this dome at all. But I think this will be the perfect color for fall, so I'm really looking forward to using this one. I'm definitely in a fall mood right now. I'm ready for this heat to be over. And then on top of that, I will continue using Beverly Hills. So I think these two will work well together. Mood is a little bit too dark for my skin, and again, a little goes a long way, so I think it'll be really slow progress. But I think adding Beverly Hills on top will really help it blend into my skin. So that's what I plan on doing for my blush for fall. And then once I finish the Rare Beauty Glossy Balm in Apricot, I plan on using these three Merit lip oils. So again, I have Jeté, which I need to use and finish as soon as possible because it is one of my oldest makeup products. And then I also have these two lip oils in the colors Sangria and Taupe. Both of these also are very, very old and very expired, and I have been waiting for fall to use them because they haven't been colors that would work for me for spring and summer. So hopefully these haven't gone completely bad and I can make some good progress on them and hopefully get close to emptying these this fall. Something that I really struggle with Project Pan is feeling like I need to complete an item before I move on to the next. And that's kind of what's been happening with my lip products. So I have so many lip products that I'm trying to get through. I have more that aren't even a part of my Project Pan that I will eventually add into my Project Pan because they also are expired or expiring very soon. And like I said earlier, I didn't plan on finishing this glossy balm this year, but I made way more progress than I expected, and I really expected to focus more on this one here as well the past couple months. But once I start going on a product and seeing progress on it, it's really hard for me to turn my focus to anything else. And that's something that I really struggle with because I want to finish this product, I enjoy it, and I want to have another empty and reduce my makeup collection to an even smaller number. But as I am focusing on one product, my other products are aging and going bad. So I really struggle to balance using all of these. And it is just a reminder that I don't need to own this much stuff, especially when it is expiring and I'm not able to use it before it goes bad. It adds stress into my life and mental clutter trying to get through all of these. And that's why usually once I kind of start focusing on one product, it is hard to pull my attention away. But I'm just so close to finishing this one that I'm just going to finish it, even though that wasn't my plan. But yeah, that's something that I struggle with, is just having this kind of all or nothing mentality when it comes to doing Project Pan. And that's why I'm trying to have focuses each season and really cycle through things. But again, if I don't finish this glossy balm in the next few weeks, then the rest of this product will probably go to waste. And it is giving me a lot of satisfaction out of finishing this, so it would be really disappointing if I didn't. Let me know if you guys have any tips on how to manage balancing using up different products before they expire. Do you count the number of uses, or do you cycle through on a regular basis? Or do you just allow yourself to use things organically? Or are you like me, where once you focus in on something, it is hard to pull your attention away? So to finish out this video, I'm just going to share some final numbers and some overall progress pictures that I've been taking, and I've just been forgetting to add into my videos each time. So this is a note to my editing self to remember to add in these photos. But I feel like these photos really show how much progress I've been making on Project Pan overall, because my collection really has been decreasing, and it has been giving me so much satisfaction and really taking away a lot of the overwhelm that I felt when I started Project Pan. Because now the number of items just feels a lot more manageable. So let me first bring in the other Project Pan items so that we can see everything all together. Okay, so this is everything that is left in my Project Pan. And you guys can see what I'm talking about, how this just feels like a really manageable amount of items to be trying to use up as far as hair care, skincare, and makeup goes. So back when I started Project Pan in March of 2025, I had 54 items total in my Project Pan. And then in May of 2025, I was down to 47. In July, I was at 40. And now with this update, I've had 10 empties, 5 declutters, and 2 additions, bringing my grand total in my Project Pan to 27 items. That is a 13 item difference from back in July and a 27 item difference from back in March. So I have cut the amount of products in my Project Pan in half since I started. And this has only been 6 months. So I'm really excited to see where I will be at by the end of 2025. And I imagine that I will continue doing Project Pan going into 2026, because I don't think I will be able to use up everything here. And I have been adding items in as they get close to expiring. So it is an ever-evolving process and ever-changing, but overall, my collection has really been dwindling down and reducing in size. And that really was my ultimate goal when I started Project Pan. I wanted my collection of products to go down to a more manageable amount and to really curate it down to products that I love and not have anything more than that. So we will see how it goes in the coming months. But I'm looking forward to seeing the progress that I make, and hopefully you are as well. And if you are looking forward to seeing that progress, then make sure that you're subscribed. And if you're doing a Project Pan, let me know how it's going. Let's keep motivating each other in the comments, and thank you for watching. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye!